I saw this TikTok out there, this video from TikTok right here, and it showed Young Thug in court. Now, Young Thug has been in court with several other co-defendants, and they're just sitting there in the courtroom, right? And you've seen each lawyer state their case, right? So there was a guy who made a good argument, I thought, about the whole YSL clothing line. Now, those of you who don't remember, during the weekend show, I did a weekend show, and I was talking about this. And it was the fact that I felt that Slime Life Shawty might have sold himself short. Now, I know that sounds crazy because he's a free man right now. Yeah, he signed a deal. People are going to say he bit the cheese, he ate the cheese, or took the Pepsi and the Italian beef. All of those synonyms for ratting, right? But I think he sold himself short because in the indictment, it's listed under the 2 times that he's mentioned. He only had one charge. His charge was being in the RICO. How did they justify him being in the RICO or being a part of a RICO or breaking the RICO Act? Is the fact that he wore a slime hoodie. Once he wore a slime hoodie, he was standing next to another guy who was throwing up a alleged YSL gang sign, and also he was wearing a YSL hoodie. Now the hoodie was "Make America Slime Again," and I thought, hold up, man, I'm a rapper, right? I'm paying my attorney. The only thing they got me in this RICO for is the fact that I'm wearing a "Make America Slime Again" hoodie. My lawyer better eat that, bro. I'm about to walk. You know what I'm saying? I better walk on this because that's a clothing company and they sell this apparel to other people. Other people are wearing this. So you mean to tell me each and every person on the road is a part of this RICO indictment that wears that hoodie? And this lawyer kind of talked about that a bit. So let's play some of this.
Not YSL apparel. That's the part that Don Geary left unanswered last time. I don't want to get to state any ideas, but on the Make America Slime Again Instagram account, Mr. Williams is not the only one wearing the clothing. And Make America Slime Again has nothing to do with YSL explicitly. There's also artists like Future and T.I. on the Instagram wearing the same hat as Mr. Williams and that same shirt that Mr. Farley's wearing on the BP video, Your Honor.
I just said that last week, man. I just said that. I was like, hold up, man. Dog, there's other people who have worn that clothing brand, like Make America Slime Again or Slime First and all that they have, the different slogans they have on that. If that's what you holding me in this RICO case for, and I gotta fight to not have a felony conviction on my record because of that, my lawyer better eat that, man. And this lawyer is talking about the very same thing. So that's why I think Slime Life Shawty definitely sold himself short, man.
And the shirt says slime or die. It's just a play on words like trap or die. Your Honor, again, the state still by their proffer in a black and white way has failed to articulate any party to any crime. If you listen carefully to what Ms. Rosenwasser just said, all she talked about was presence and association. He's at the BP. He's with these people afterwards. He's wearing a shirt that has the word slime on it. Your Honor, Make America Slime Again is an LLC. It's an official company. It has nothing to do with just YSL.
Exactly, man. My point that I made, man. Exactly. But, man, let's continue.
Was Mr. Farley's attempt to get any proximity to any artist of any kind of attention when attention is such a commodity these days, especially for the clothing business. And if you notice, too, the shirts that Mr. Wani Lee is wearing in his videos, because Mr. Farley and him are close friends since they can even remember, and he is his personal assistant paid by Alamo Records in an official way, Mr. Wani Lee is also wearing shirts from a different clothing line. I think it was True Detail or something like that, and it's some relative or other person that he's trying to put on. So, Your Honor, this is not YSL apparel. This is a person, an entrepreneur who is close to Wani Lee, has a business relationship with him, and then networks with musicians.
And it's that easy, bruh. Like, if you mean to tell me you're selling this on racks, you're selling this on your online store, and I can't wear it, or I'm involved in a RICO? No, man. Anybody, all the people who had those weak cases against him, you see they all signed the plea deals, right? I think that was on purpose, man. Everybody with a weak case that could have beat their case, you know what? They've been sitting in jail for 7 months, you know what I mean, already. Let's offer them this plea deal where they can go home. They'll have a felony conviction over their head. That way we win there. And it hurts Young Thug's case. We win there. Bruh, Slime Life Shorty and them probably could have beat this. Because remember, this is not the feds. This is the state. And for that to be the reason why you're involved in a RICO act or being accused of RICO, that's your only count in this situation, is ridiculous, man. If you paying a lawyer and he can't eat that for you, man, I don't know what it is, man. I think Slime Life Shorty and them sold themselves short, man. But let's go.
And other types of people to make his clothing more visible. And so, Your Honor, again, there's just presence, there's just association. And as far as access to a phone, that doesn't show anything. It shows that he's on the phone in the jail, but it doesn't mean that it was his phone. It doesn't mean that he posted it. That account that did the story wasn't him. You can reshare stories. You can post stories of other people. So just like when we had that proffer about Mr. Kitchens where someone said, oh, I'll do anything for Gunna. If someone wants to post something with an image that they somehow got because a camera from a jail phone was on Mr. Farley for a second and took a picture of him giving the middle finger, okay, he didn't decide to post that. He didn't decide to someone say free him or anything like that, Your Honor. So again, I don't see how being in a phone image makes you a risk on any of the bond factors, Judge.
And I thought that was a good argument. I know people have been watching this case every day. It just coincided with some of the things I was thinking about too. Like, I don't know, man. I know Gunna, yeah, his situation is a little different. He's a millionaire, right? He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot to lose by continually staying in jail. So maybe he felt like his back was against the wall and he felt like he had to sign that deal. Same with Lil Duke. You know, Lil Duke was looking at 12 years. But yo, with Slime Life Shorty, I don't know, man. He might have sold himself short by not fighting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. They might have got the better of him by having him sign that plea deal, you know? And I get his logic. I heard his response and everything like that. But man, that just goes to show, man, that this is a dirty game. And man, you got to be out there playing chess, and hopefully your lawyer is playing chess too. Now, more on Gunna. So Gunna's attorney, a guy by the name of Steve Sadow, took to social media to talk about how he thinks that Gunna is not any type of rat, didn't tell on anybody, and that he probably won't take the stand. So there you go. That's Gunna and his attorney. And his attorney is so serious that he went to social media to talk about this. So let me look at this story from hiphopdx.com where he talked about the fact that Gunna is getting not a raw deal, but that he's being mislabeled is what he calls it, right? So this is the story that I'm talking about right here. And in it, you can see the lawyers, well, the headline says this. It says, Gunna's lawyer denies snitch label, and it talks about some other people who disagree and pretty much say that, Wack 100 saying that he is a snitch. So Wack 100 disagrees with Gunna's lawyer, who is denying the snitch label his client is receiving amid his release from prison. Academics shared a DM with Gunna's lawyer, Steve Sadow, on Monday, December 19th, where Sadow clarifies that the viral video showing the YSL rapper confirming YSL is a gang in his plea deal would not affect Young Thug or anyone else. So basically, there was this post right here, right? And this is put out by DJ Academics, and it says this. You see the post? That's the lawyer Steve Sadow, and he says this. Says, look to you, can you publicly address how Gunna... Okay, so somebody says to Steve Sadow this. Look to you, can you publicly address how Gunna's viral Yes Ma'am video affects the Thug and YSL, if at all? The one where he's asked if YSL is a gang and committed crimes. Now they're talking about that video where he's like, where there's a series of questions, and the lawyer from the district attorney's office says to Gunna, "Do you admit that YSL is a gang?" And he's like, "Yes, ma'am." "Will you stick by the rules of this plea deal?" "Yes, ma'am," and all that, right? And this person is basically asking Steve Sadow, will that hurt Young Thug's case in any way? And he goes on to respond by saying, doesn't affect anyone but my client. Out of court statements at a plea hearing cannot come into evidence against someone else. So that he's trying to spin it, or he's trying to say that what Gunna said in court has no effect on anybody else in the trial. So the guy replies to him and says, thank you for your response. Can I post this? Because there are a lot of mislead people thinking Gunna's confirmation that YSL is apparently a gang dooms Jeffrey's defense. And his lawyer said, yes, please do. Also, he responded by saying a question that keeps coming up is, does this change anything if Sergio, which is Gunna, Sergio Kitchens, is called in to testify against YSL? Can he be subpoenaed to testify? It says yes, but he will take the fifth and not testify. So remember, in the plea agreement, I believe it did say that he had the ability to plead the fifth and not testify. So I don't know. Those words might be getting conflated or getting misconstrued, because it says something totally different, I think, in the plea agreement, man. I think it said that he had to testify if asked to. Now, I think it also said that that doesn't remove the fact that he could plead the Fifth Amendment if he wanted to. So I think that's a possibility still for him. But I don't think this clears the stink of it. You know what I mean? And when I say the stink of it, I mean how this makes it look where Young Thug is concerned, because Young Thug is being put into a box where he's isolated, and that's obviously the intentions of all this. And they're putting him in a situation where he has to agree, you know what I mean? Or excuse me, he has to, he's going to be the last person that hasn't signed a plea deal, and all the plea deals are going to make it out that YSL is a gang or a criminal organization, and he was the boss. You know what I'm saying? So this looks bad for him. Let me see if this works.
By any party in this case.
Ooh. So let's look at this. I want you guys to take account what he said that day, as opposed to what's just being said here. So let's rewatch this, man. They try to tell us we didn't see what we seen.
By any party in this case, you will testify truthfully, but reserve any Fifth Amendment rights or privileges against self-incrimination. You agree to perform 500 hours of community service, a substantial portion of which will require that you speak to young men and women about the hazards and immortality of gangs and gang violence, and the decay that it causes our communities.
In court, some startling statements.
Please state after each statement whether or not you agree or acknowledge that the statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
That was the first one.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
Man, he said yes, man, without even a pause, bro. He didn't even think about it. He was like, yes. Let me get home, man. Like Sauce Walker said, let me knock on wood.
Includes Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug, his attorney, Brian.
But nah, man, based on what
Williams committed no crime.
Based on what his attorney said there in that text message, I would take that with a grain of salt, man. Because I think Gunna's going to do whatever Gunna needs to do to stay free. And y'all say wrong or right on that, I don't know, man. But, you know, based on what this is saying, it seems like Whack 100 in them, they might actually be correct. I think that, no matter how you try to chop this up, this is a bad look for Young Thug in the end. You know, you got one of your main guys out here talking and telling people, telling the court that it's a criminal organization. Now, the way that his lawyer tried to spin it is creative, but I don't know if that's how it's going to play out in court. So now, hopefully you enjoyed that story, but do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I do one of these updates. And we out of here. Peace.